Well, it's kind of the calm before the storm right now because there's no NFL preseason games. Everyone's got like a week off to kind of get ready for that first game of the season, which will be next week. But this weekend, it's all about college foosball. I mean, talking good old American college foosball. And let's start with USC and UCLA right here in our own backyard. Both these teams opening up at home. Both these teams with real winnable games, right? USC taking on Rice, UCLA taking on Bowling Green. If you're a Trojans fan or a Bruins fan, Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong, but those should be a couple blowout wins to build a little confidence, a little momentum for the season.
Yeah, I hate to, put down those schools or whatever, but these are, as the Mick would say in Rocky, some tomato cans, some tune-up fights, if you will.
It is, right? And listen, don't get me wrong. Those other schools are probably getting a nice paycheck playing USC and or UCLA. Yeah. So, yeah, they're making a nice paycheck. But, yeah, these are some games for UCLA and USC to get out of the gate quickly and do some things well and build that confidence before things get real meaty. I know UCLA's got a couple easier games on the non-conference, but for USC, man, they play Stanford next week. Like, all of a sudden, boom, the season's here. It's right on top of you.
That's why I do kind of like these games because even if it is a lower level game, it is preseason kind of for college football. You get one game to kind of, get out there, take some live bullets, and then let's get it on, dude. That's what people don't realize too is, the NFL, they kind of get warmed up and get going before the season. College is more like jump in.
Yeah, you jump right in. And speaking of jumping right in, yes, these are more like scrimmages, I guess you would say, for USC and UCLA, but we have some huge, massive college football games on this very first Saturday of the season. Yes. I don't want to leave any of these out, but the two big ones, I would say, the big ones, Oregon against Georgia and Notre Dame against the Ohio State. Patrick, this is first week of the season, man, and these are like national championship or semifinal, national semifinal games. These are huge.
Right. With the Notre Dame game, I think we're all wondering, okay, Brian Kelly is gone. Where is Notre Dame? So I think we're going to find that out, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think Notre Dame was fifth in the nation, and Ohio State's like 3 or 4, somewhere around there. So I mean, this is huge.
There might be a little switching going on too. So we have that situation with Notre Dame. I think the reason these two games are so big is we don't know where Notre Dame is, and we don't know where Oregon is, and there's kind of this underlying of Oregon is really good and maybe a little bit different. This isn't the floof offense of the Oregon Ducks. They will pound you and they will beat you, and I think we may find out. And this is a good test, right? I give them props. Playing Georgia out of the gate, I love it. I mean, if they are to win, they might send a message, Pat.
Listen, I don't want to ever say Georgia is ripe for the picking, but they lost a ton of guys to the NFL, right? A ton of guys, but their defense is really good. But remember, the new Oregon head coach, Dan Lanning, came from Georgia. And I think for the Oregon Ducks and for the Pac-12 as a whole, man, if they can plant their flag and say, listen, Oregon beats Georgia, the Pac-12 is for real, we've got some good football teams that you have to consider in the national picture, I think it would be huge for the whole West Coast and Pac-12 football. But if Georgia stomps Oregon, then we're kind of just right back where we started from, where, the SEC, the Big Ten, Notre Dame, those are the teams we're going to be talking about. Clemson, it's going to be all the same schools again.
Pep, from what I'm hearing is this is no longer, hey, we're going to do tempo and we're going to gas you. This is, we're going to run you over.
That's Big Ten football, right? That's,
yes.
I like it. Maybe it's not the prettiest thing. I know people like to go 3 and 4 wide with the receivers and throw the ball 50 times a game. But at the end of the day, listen, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. If you can run the football and you can play defense, you're going to win a lot of football games, plain and simple.
But it sounds like the playoffs in the NFL.
Yeah. No, exactly. You're exactly right. Speaking of the NFL, again, we said it's the calm before the storm, right? No preseason games. We had NFL cut day. The only really big news coming out this week was Jimmy G staying with the 49ers. I don't know if it's a hold on to him for a low price to maybe possibly trade him down the road, or if he's a security blanket in case Trey Lance, lays a huge egg. I don't know, but he's a 49er right now, Patrick.
They have obviously a quality backup. That is one positive thing. I really think the only negative thing is you have Jimmy G looking over Trey's shoulder, and that can influence the locker room. You know how these locker rooms are. From what I've heard is there's a lot of Jimmy G support in that locker room, so that could be a problem. Puts a lot of pressure on the kid, I feel. The good thing is they both get along well from what I've heard. But if Trey starts stumbling, the roar for Jimmy G is going to be deafening.
Listen, call it sour grapes, but I feel like the 49ers shoulda, coulda beat the Rams last year to get to the Super Bowl. So it's not like Jimmy G's just some scrub, man. He is, he got the 49ers almost to the Super Bowl, to the NFC Championship game just this past season. So I don't know. If you're going all in on Trey Lance, I think you can't have, like you said, Jimmy G waiting in the wings, Trey Lance looking over his shoulder constantly. So the 49ers, I think, have a plan. Maybe they sign him for a low price, and they're figuring, hey, a couple weeks into the season, somebody's starter is going to get injured on another team, and they're going to come looking for Jimmy G, and we've got him. And maybe that's what's going to happen.
That starter that gets hurt may be Trey Lance. And in comes Jimmy G to ride him into the sunset, baby.
You're right. It could be. It could be the 49ers. It could be that team who might need the starting quarterback.
I can see it happen.
It could happen. All right. So we'll talk more NFL next week as we get to the first week of the season. But in baseball on the diamond, huge series between the Dodgers and Mets, two best teams in the National League. Many calling this a National League Championship preview. The first two games of the series split. Dodgers-Mets, each won. Game 3 is today. Clayton Kershaw will be on the bump for the Dodgers, back from that back injury. So that'll be good to see him. But a huge series. The Mets won last night by a final score of 2-1. And in that game, Patrick, it was electric. It was trending on Twitter, and everyone was talking about this. This guy named Timmy Trumpet, all right? Yes. Apparently he's from Australia. He can really blow that trumpet, and he's got a famous song called Norco, and he performed it live for the Mets closer Edwin Diaz. That's his entrance song from the bullpen. Patrick, you saw it. The place went nuts in New York.
And even the place is just going nuts when Edwin Diaz comes in, because they play that song, and there's just nothing like it. It's a feeling that comes over the stadium. And then they're like, I heard, oh man, Timmy Trumpet's coming. He's going to do it live. And I'm like, that's really cool. This is very Trevor Hoffman-esque. When Metallica did Enter Sandman, I was like, this is going to work. And it worked better than you could ever imagine. The place was going absolutely bananas. And he rocked it, dude. He rocked the song. And then it was cool that he varied it a little bit at the end, so you could really tell that he was playing, which I really appreciated.
I would love to be in a ballpark where it's a huge game, it's a close game, 2-1, and you've got like one of the best closers in the game, and he comes trotting out from the bullpen in the 9th inning, and they blast his theme song, and the place goes bananas. That's one of those things. I think some of the Mets players were saying it gives you goosebumps, man. Like it's so, that moment is so big.
Baseball needs this right now, too. Something to get into, and we're ready for it. It's fun. It's cool. Everybody can't wait for it. And it's something that, for some reason, everyone can celebrate. It's like, yes, this is a Mets thing, but everyone else can appreciate it for some reason, which I love.
Well, think about it. We've talked a lot about the walk-up music, right? Like all the batters get to pick their song as they come to the plate. But the closers also have their entrance music when they enter the game in the 9th inning to close out a game, get the save. I think of, like you mentioned, Trevor Hoffman with the Padres. He had an iconic – was it Hell's Bells?
No, it was Enter Sandman.
Well, Mariano.
Oh, no, you're right. It was Hell's Bells.
Mariano Rivera had Enter Sandman, and you hear Metallica, fire up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, game over. This thing's done. Here he comes from out of the bullpen. This game is locked up.
Yeah, here it comes, man. Very cool. Hopefully we get to see it. It could be the preview. We'll see how the Dodgers do, man. I mean, we're getting very close. The Dodgers still playing well. At least they have somebody that opposes them, someone good.
Yeah. Still the best team in baseball, but if there is a challenger, at least in the National League, it looks like it's the Mets. So this is kind of like that barometer test here at the end of the season. If they went head-to-head, what would that look like? And again, 3-game series. They've split so far. Game 3 today, Clayton Kershaw on the bump. So I think it's kind of an important game.
Oh, man, I love it. After this weekend, we got to talk to our guy Pep on Monday. Make sure you tune in. Pep, tell him how to get your stuff.
Get my stuff on Inland Sports. Until then, we'll talk high school football. We'll talk guys from the local area who have made it to the NFL. It's Inland Sports, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and, of course, the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Check it out.
Thanks, Pep.